welcome back to the Fixing Football Podcast with me, Martyn and Liam. Liam O'Meara is here, and we are, like I said, the Fixing Football Podcast. We're here to fix and go through just modern football and everything. That's what we believe in. We believe there is a better way to do most things around here, and we'd like you to come on board. If you are listening, you've clicked, welcome. If you've clicked for the very first time, hello. Please like and share and subscribe and comment and let us know your thoughts on all these episodes. We're trying to grow a big community here so we can all fix this thing together because we're all talking about it anyway. So, that being said, Liam, how are you, mate?
Very good, mine. Very good. Buzzing after a big derby win. I know we'll talk about that a bit later, but yeah, all well. How are you getting on?
I was going to ask how the hangover was.
It was strong. It was strong.
It's early kickoff as well, so you've had a full day of it yesterday.
Oh, yeah, I was in the pub at 9 o'clock. That's the thing. They do it for whatever reason they do it, but pubs are packed at 9 o'clock. But yeah, it was a great day out. Oh, obviously, we'll go into it in more detail later, but yeah, I was feeling it a little bit today.
Fair enough. So, I mean, where do we start? There has been a lot of news. I'd like to talk on Manchester United in a little minute, but first, I think it's only right we're going to Oliver Glasner. That seems to be the biggest topic right now of the weekend just gone. And for those who don't know, he came out after their loss at Sunderland. That's right, and it was Sunderland. Late loss to Sunderland. A load of good goals in that game as well, by the way. He's come out after the game and he's basically exploded out and said that he feels like that he is being abandoned. He and the team are being abandoned. Basically a direct message to the board. He referenced them selling Eze right before the start of the season and now Matt Gay the day before this game. He's being left short. He feels unwanted. Everyone knows he's out of contract. Apparently, even Steve Parish didn't know he was going to announce that he would be leaving at the end of the season, even though I think we all already sort of assumed that, but he more or less confirmed it in his press conference before Saturday. So, I mean, Liam, take it away. What's our thoughts here? Obviously, Oliver Glasner is someone very highly... His stock is high right now.
Yeah, and I'm surprised at how high it still is for Crystal Palace fans. He seems to start to support Crystal Palace fans, and I'm going to be honest, don't think I'd see it that way if I was a Crystal Palace fan, because ultimately it was him who spat his dummy out in the summer over Gay potentially leaving.
Yeah,
when he had a much higher transfer value at that point.
He threatened to leave, didn't he?
Yeah, and then it seems like back in October, which is what, a month after that, he informs that Steve Parish that he's going to leave at that point.
Multiple contract offers, I believe.
Yeah, so quite literally has got what he wanted and then left anyway by the sounds of things. And I think the idea was a gentleman's agreement to keep it quiet, which is then broken.
Yeah.
On the basis that they're going to sell him because ultimately he's leaving.
It's 20 million now or nothing in 6 months. I think Gay made that clear that he wouldn't be staying on. Exactly.
Now, whether you think that's a good idea or not to sell him for 20 million, there's an argument that's 6 Premier League places. The difference, it's worth £3 million a place roughly. And also they can win the Conference League and be in the Europa League next season. So there is a potential that keeping him might have been the better decision. It is a bit of a gamble either way, I think, whichever way you go about it.
I do sort of agree that he's been a victim of his own success, really, in the fact that he had previously stated that he likes a small squad. He likes to play the same 11 if he can, almost every game. And then at the same time, he's asking for, extra support and reinforcements and stuff. And I think they've got a great 11, 12 players, Crystal Palace. But, beyond that, I mean, their bench yesterday was full of, at the weekend, was full of, academy products.
Yeah,
and
it was. They've had some injury as well, which I suppose comes with the extra games, right? This is a squad that's not used to playing that amount of fixtures, and you're quite right. That is something he said more than one occasion as well, in regards to firm working with smaller squads, which is becoming a common theme, actually, across most managers, I would say. It's a bit of a talking point at Bolton at the moment, regarding the big squad causing problems.
Not me.
Yeah, well, no, I know. Well, it's going well for Mikel Arteta, but it might not do as it carries on. It does become, even Pep has moved away from that kind of approach, hasn't he? He talked about last season. He was struggling with the size of the squad and keeping everyone happy.
To me, that's next season's
problem. Play a million games because they go after every trophy, don't they? So
yeah.
But it's quite interesting. But I do think with Glasner, I must admit, like, it always felt like he was going to leave.
Yeah.
And also, can you really be annoyed at Crystal Palace for selling Eberechi Eze? Is that not just like?
I don't think so. I think the Eze one it was probably more the timing that upset him rather than the fact that he was leaving. I think it was common knowledge that he was going to.
It's out of their hands, though, isn't it? It's when Tottenham made the bid, basically, and then Havertz got injured and made Arsenal then do it. So they can only really, you can't make other teams offer early in the window.
Yeah, and that's part of the business plan of a lot of teams. That's why you see there is a deadline day to cause this chaos, and they're hoping people.
Yeah, and I would argue as well in Steve Parish / Crystal Palace ownership defence, they have gone and replaced him at the earliest opportunity. They've gone and got Brennan Johnson pretty much in the next window pretty early and got that done pretty early in the window, and that is the replacement, theoretically.
I mean, Paul Brennan Johnson, I mean, if he goes from one dumpster fire to the next, doesn't he? I mean, he got out of Nottingham Forest, goes to Tottenham thinking it's all going to be great. He's their top scorer, but, they're in a world of shit. They have the worst season on history despite winning a European trophy and being the one who scores the winning goal. Then gets sold to Crystal Palace, who were then themselves in a new dumpster fire.
Well, it was mad, wasn't it? Because I remember the news at the time was that he was going meeting Glasner to have discussions, and the elephant in the room was you've not signed a contract yet at that point. And there was, Fabrizio Romano had already kind of leaked at that point that the intention, it hadn't been confirmed, but it was kind of out there from him that Glasner was not re-signing. So, I mean, if you're a Palace fan, no. What do you do?
So Oliver Glasner is basically Crystal Palace's most successful manager of modern times, certainly probably in our lifetime. Probably ever.
They've never won a major trophy until
FA
Cup. So you could argue he is most successful ever by one bit of success.
I'd argue that they are the favourites for the Conference League, despite them having a bit of a ropey tournament so far. But if they start putting it together, any Premier League team in the Conference League should win that thing. Just the way it's set up.
Yeah, I wouldn't disagree with that.
So they have a chance of a European trophy, and they already won in the FA Cup and the Community Shield this season. It's for it to end this way has got to be sour for Crystal Palace fans, and I don't really know where they go from here as an institution, given the fact that the blame is being totally pointed to the board now. And Steve Parish has been someone who's sort of ran this club fairly well, I think most people would agree.
Well, again, he's been the chairman of the most successful period. I mean, literally at the back end of this week, well, last week as well, they've approved to build the new stand, haven't they? So take an extra 9,000 seats and a brand new, state of the art stand, sort of bringing Crystal Palace really forward. So they are a club going places. And I just think, unfortunately, it all comes down to natural pecking order, doesn't it? And I think that's what people don't like about this kind of stuff. The idea you're selling Gay, you're selling Eze, maybe even Mateta this window, and then you're looking at Adam Wharton thinking, is he going to be happy to stick around? It becomes this idea. This team that's gone on a really successful period, they've gone and won a cup, and it's been stripped.
Yeah.
But that is unfortunately what happens. That is how football works, and you've got to. And I think it's just a hard thing for anyone to accept. And the idea is that could Crystal Palace have gone and kicked on and invested in the squad? Maybe. But also, would Eze have wanted to stay?
Yeah.
How would that situation gone? Gay just is going to leave at the end of the year. He's being professional and he's been brilliant really this season as well. There's been no dip in his performances, but he's going to leave. He is destined for, I don't want to say better things, but certainly bigger things.
It's a little bit reminiscent, Liam, of Bolton Wanderers' time and towards the end of Sam Allardyce's time at Bolton. I know Big Sam's not one of your favourite topics, but it is one of the reasons why he left, in the fact that he wanted to push the club, higher into the European places, which had become, a semi-regular thing at this point in the last couple of years of Sam Allardyce. And then, it was sort of like, you ain't getting any more money.
Well, this is it. He does like to talk about that a lot, Big Sam. But, what people tend to forget about that point of Bolton's history is that they'd already accumulated about £120 million worth of debt by just being in the Premier League. And that ultimately would bite us later down the line. You know, when people talk about what happened to Bolton, they tend to associate Ken Anderson with a lot of it. No, I mean, the debt was accumulated from that very successful period, but it's not a narrative people like to hear.
But this natural pecking order that you sort of mentioned is where we do find Crystal Palace, and it's coming to a point where you, as a club and as an owner and a chairman, I'm sure you think, yes, if I give the people who are running the playing side of the club another 50 million quid out of somewhere, you know, I still have to cough up that money. And is it worth it? Will I ever receive return in that? People aren't around forever. People want lives and their wealth to continue and stuff like that. It's just, I think it was Alan Sugar who says the best way to make 100 million from a football club is start with 200. So, I mean, I don't know. And so, where do you see? Let's play this out. Mark Gahey is off to Man City. That'll probably be announced by the time people are hearing this. Yeah, we're hearing talks of Mateta linked with Juventus. I think there's a bit more legs in that one as well. That one might rumble on a little bit, but that might tip Glasner over the edge. I don't think.
Well, this is it. I mean, what does Glasner do? Because it was quite interesting. I was listening to TalkSport last week. They were praising the situation of the openness of Glasner, and they felt like it might be quite good that everyone knows where they stand and the fans could just enjoy it for what it is. But ultimately, no, because that's just not how football works. There's quite clearly other motives to this. He's quite clearly, I think, I mean, again, this is just me speculating, but I think exactly what happened here is that the bid's been accepted for Gahey and Glasner's gone and told the squad. He's just seen his arse. The emotions got the better of him. Much like Amorim. And when we had the podcast on Amorim a couple of weeks ago, where he's had a meeting that he didn't like, and he's gone in and he spoke with human emotion and said something maybe he shouldn't have done. And I think that's what happened here. So once he's done that, Glasner, he's then had to go and tell everyone because it would have been, it would have been in the papers within an hour after he's told the squad, who texting all the mates and that type of stuff. So that's that. I imagine that's how it's happened. Obviously, I don't know. I'm not in Crystal Palace's training ground, but I can see that being the way it played out. So there's quite clearly a lot of emotion. I don't think he survives the next couple of weeks. I think either way he goes. I think
he just steps away early.
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
So let's play out the world of Oliver Glasner then. What is next for Oliver Glasner?
Well, he'll be in demand. He'll be in demand. There's an obvious link with Man United because of the formations and the system change. I don't know though. I don't know if he would like. He's having an issue working in a structure, isn't he? This whole debate again, isn't it? Can he work as part of the team manager? Will he like the idea of being a head coach as opposed to a manager? Don't know. I don't know, if I'm being honest with you, man. I think I see him at Bayern Munich at some point.
Vincent Kompany. Yeah. I'd like this idea of yours. So basically it was Vincent Kompany comes back to Manchester City, whatever state they're in at the time, and Oliver Glasner takes up them reins there.
It feels right. It does. I can see that. Right.
I'm interested to see where it happens. There's a lot of that squad there for the
Could the Austria job be available? Ranić's not getting any younger.
Don't tell him that.
Uncle Ralph. I don't know. I feel like he could end up anywhere. He will be in demand. I won't be surprised if a couple of teams that are looking for a manager now don't have a look.
Yeah.
Could a certain Tottenham Hotspur have a look at that?
God, he's doing the opposite Brennan Johnson here.
Well, this is it. But I do look at that and think, I could see Tottenham having a look at that one.
Tottenham is a bigger job than Crystal Palace, but don't really get the same results. No.
I also think that they may, the timing of what's going on with Thomas Frank and Pochettino potentially being available again in the summer, that feels more natural to me. But it's going to be a mad summer for manager moves. We kind of touched on this, didn't we, when we talked about Amorim. and Maresca. But
Well,
yeah,
my hot take from the beginning of the year was that this year is going to be a bit of a bloodbath, and I feel like every week would just speak about managers. The number one topic most weeks. We barely get into the details of a match. We're always speculating about what a manager said, what a manager's done, who's going here, what could be next for him. I feel like it's more than the players these days.
Yeah. I think there's been a couple of reasons for that. I think the fact that it's not 3 teams that are definitely going down has made a difference. But I also think, as well, I think PSR restrictions are driving managers nuts. And I think the really, like, you look at like the Villa situation. It's just
It's
absolutely
clearly knocking Emery
infuriating.
silly, isn't it?
It's just infuriating. Just basically selling Donny O'Malley just because they have to was basically the reason. They need it. They just got a bid that basically was
It's a loan with a fee in it, the Marlon one.
Yeah.
A loan with an obligation. Anyway, listen, you mentioned him a minute ago. I'm going to move on from Oliver Glasner. We don't know what's going to happen. He'll probably be in a job by the time you're hearing this, but this one's just going to rumble on. Yeah,
It could be one of those. It could be one of those where it's like, we'll wake up in the morning. Romano was tweeted like at 11:45 saying, "There's been a meeting at the board meeting and people at Palace aren't happy," and then he's gone by the time you wake up.
He'll be waiting for that phone call tonight, I'm sure. I don't think Steve Parish is that hot-headed. I've listened to him. He'd been, obviously a bit more vocal in the press, given Palace's success last season. So feel like I heard from him a lot, and he seems very level-headed when it comes to the running of Crystal Palace and what it's going to be. So I don't think he'll be the one making a rash decision here.
Well, it's the understanding is that they've had a meeting today, Sunday, this morning, that has gone quite well, and that he's going to stay to the end of the season. I think they were a flashpoint away. If a bid comes in from Mateta, see what happens then, I think.
Fair. We will speak about your beloved club in a minute, but I think it's only right to touch on Manchester United because we mentioned them then. First of all, you wouldn't have seen the Manchester derby because you were at your derby.
Yes. I couldn't believe the scores though as it was coming through.
I thought it's the best Manchester United I've seen for a long time. And this is painful because we play them next. They've got, we spoke about last week about how much rest they get these days.
Yeah, they're absolutely saving
It's
themselves.
4 days older.
No team has focused on the league quite as much as Man United this year.
But they look really good. What Michael Carrick has said to them, other than, "Hey, do you remember a 4-4-2? Do you want to try that again?"
So is that what was it 4-4-2 they played?
No, it was a 4-3-3. It was a very obvious one. Burmore through the middle as well. He's clearly coming off AFCON. I mean, he sharpened up a little bit in the second half. I don't know if he just took a minute to get over the jet lag or whatever, but they look good, Man United. And it made me... People talk about identity and DNA and stuff, and especially Manchester United. God, you can't avoid it, the Manchester identity and DNA of Manchester United.
Has to be wingers.
But
the only team that's ever played wingers.
They've never been this possession-dominating side. They've never been... The successful teams, anyway, they've never been good at... What else was the other one? Like, having a low block themselves and being a very defensive side. They don't control passages of play much at all. They're a counter-attacking side.
Counter-attacking, winning individual battles, getting the ball out wide. That's kind of been what they've always been.
And all them 3 things they did better than Man City, which is something that we've not been able to say for a long time. They did all them things better. They outbattled them. People were looking at Luke Shaw was popping it around the corner, and Kobe Mainoo was dropping the shoulder and stuff. And it's like, where have these players been? There's 2 thoughts here. It's like, was Ruben Amorim that bad at relaying a message to these people that it voided them of any self-thought? Or had they just down tools and thought, let's get this guy out as quick as possible? Because we've said it for a long time that they aren't bad footballers that Manchester United have. They're not the greats anymore, but they aren't bad footballers. And to see them playing with a confidence that they've just developed in a week, or maybe 2 weeks since Amorim's gone. But the confidence, literally it was popping triangles up, turning Ryan Cherky inside out.
Yeah, I've seen that clip. Yeah, I've seen it.
That happened multiple times across the pitch. I couldn't believe how fast Manchester United were moving the ball. It was something I hadn't seen for so long. Aaron Maguire was putting his body on the line again. They were very impressive. I think they thoroughly deserved to win. In my head, I watched the first half and I was listening to the second half on the radio, and I was just waiting for Man City to go 1-0 up. So I just thought, after all this, how good it's been for Man United, just the way that their season is, or the last 18 months have been, that Man City are going to go 1-0 up here. Donnarumma was having the game of his life as well. So, but no, listen, fair play to them. They did really, really well, and I can't say that I'm not slightly worried about next weekend. But we're at home and we don't concede that many usually.
They always had a big game in them, didn't they, Man United? Mm-hmm. A lot like Chelsea in that, where they could turn up for the big game. But obviously I've not seen the game. Obviously I was at my own game. It is interesting, the turnaround. And I did wonder about Amorim. I don't think it's a case of them downing tools and let's get him out. But let's be honest, there was such a negative cloud around him in the end. And I never thought Amorim was a bad coach, to be completely honest. I never got that feeling, but I just wondered I think the issue with him potentially is the emotional intelligence element. He was just a man who was just completely succumbed to negativity if things aren't great. He couldn't handle the lows and the pressure being involved in Manchester United. I think Amorim's going to go and have a very good career. Probably a lot better for his experience. But in terms of coaching and that type of stuff, I imagine Carrick's got a lot to work with. So we'll see. It could be a turning point for them. Who knows?
I'm telling you 100% that even if Manchester United would have lost 4-0 at the weekend and been able to give the same performance that they did, United fans would still be happy, because it was such a turnaround. It was such a different team. That the look and feel of it, there was a big energy, and I don't know if it was just United fans getting behind it because it was Michael Carrick or something like that.
Yeah, they have that in them, don't they?
There's a little bit of that, but yeah, they were on it, like really on it. A little bit on Man City. I thought whilst Man United were on it, and a lot of that is, them just playing well and having the game that they'd beat anyone on that day probably. But Man City were really off it as well. Haaland couldn't sort the ball out underneath his feet to save his life. And
really?
Even like Bernardo Silva was turning into corridors that he doesn't normally do. The defence...
Still good Silva, isn't he? It's like he's catching up on Silva a little bit now.
While I thought Kusanov and the young lad whose name I forgot, who played centre-back recently with him.
Oh, Elaine.
They were great last weekend. They were really, really shaky. Against what looked like to me in the first half, especially a really tired Brian Mbeumo. they seem to be struggling. He's a smart player, Brian Mbeumo.
I was going to say, you're talking a very canny, seasoned operator, Brian Mbeumo.
Yes, yeah, absolutely.
Elaine's not going to come up anything like that in the Championship.
Absolutely, 100%. But still, them two are in there they're not in there for the defensive experience, like you're putting a 36-year-old Per Mertesacker in or anything.
There's a reason they're going spending £20 million on a player that's out of contract at the end of the year, because they need him.
For 100% they do. But even that, everything around. The only one who I will say did have a good game, and I mentioned him before, was Donnarumma. It was just like United really had to pull out the stops to get past him.
Yeah, I mean, what I would say, Man City, and I've kind of thought this all year really, is, and I think we get into our head is that when they string a couple results there, we just think they're back now, because that's just what we're programmed to think. But I just don't think they have the level of quality to be a sure bet away from home. I think most teams will fancy them at their place, because they're just not that same level. And players like Bernardo Silva, despite the high technical ability still being in there, the pace isn't. And it really is a leveler in the Premier League.
I remember Jack Grealish called, and this must have been 4 years ago, called Bernardo Silva the slowest player he's ever seen. So that was 4 years ago.
I think that's statistically true as well. I think we did a quiz, didn't we?
We did.
That's one of our quiz questions. I think it actually is statistically the slowest player in the Premier League history, I think.
So funny.
I think Van der Ven's the fastest and Bernardo Silva's slow. I'm sure we did that.
Yeah. That is so.
But he's now even slower than slow.
He ain't getting any quicker. So, what you made is a good point. I watched a clip recently because Arsenal Twitter has been really fun this weekend. But it was criticising Ødegaard because he had a poor weekend, showing what a true midfield captain is meant to play like. And it was clips of De Bruyne playing, especially like this time of season when he really ramps up and he's really taking it to us, especially scoring against Arsenal for some reason. There's quite a few clips of that. And it just it sort of put my mind at ease. I wasn't worried about Ødegaard. I'm thankful that Manchester City isn't around anymore. Kevin, I was just like, yeah.
The levels Kevin De Bruyne could hit.
De Bruyne's number one for me, so there's no other conversation for midfielders, in my opinion. But
ever in any league?
No, I don't put him above Zidane, but certainly Premier League, yeah. I mean, I know there's the obvious names are all there.
I'm thrown by that, and obviously this conversation, I feel like this is one for a non-World Cup year summer. I've always put Roy Keane on the best midfielder ever pedestal.
Really?
And also in terms of match winning, I've always put Steven Gerrard above everyone else. That period when we were young, where between like 2004 and 2007, Steven Gerrard it was almost like he just decided to win the game. Like,
this is what we need. An episode of lists. That's what we'll do. Yeah. We'll get some top fives going. That'll be a bit of a clickbait. Yeah, we'll like that.
Well, yeah, that's it. It's part of our new clickbait strategy. Why Steven Gerrard isn't even a top 5 midfielder in the Premier League? That'll get some clicks. That's what we need to do. Anyone's got any clickbait ideas, by the way? Please.
For anyone on the video right now, Liam, if you do your shocked thumbnail face, just so I can clip it.
Yeah.
Right. So, Man United are back. We've established that. Man City are still not yet back.
Don't think they'll get there.
No.
I think they're going to be good. I think Gueye, Semenyo, and possibly Elliot Anderson maybe in the summer, they'll be good signings, and they'll get. But I think those days are gone. Really, the City dynasty days are gone. I think.
And Oliver Glasner is on thin ice for the rest of the season. Thomas Frank, we wait to be seen. Another one waiting by the phone. We will be back after this short break. If you enjoyed that first half, please stick with us and remember to like and comment. Comment something about Liam's moustache because he loves that.
Nope.
Comment something about my choice of football team or apparel, which I generally represent anyway. I've not got much other clothes. Or comment the fact that Scott isn't here again and just not turned up. So we'll see.
Also, just while we go, on the moustache, I forget that I have it. And then people remind me that I have it, if that makes sense. Happens all the time. It was like, at the football yesterday, it was horrendous. Like, you just forget that it's there, and everyone else is just funny. But anyway.
That is fun. We'll see after this short break. Thank you. And we are back. Welcome back to the second half. We have still lots of football topics to go through. There's many things to be fixed right now, but one thing that isn't need to be fixed is that gap that is between Bolton Wanderers and Wigan Athletic.
Oh.
That wrong side of the tracks that Liam had to venture to this weekend was crossed successfully. Liam, talk me through it. The greatest day of your life, someone said.
Well, I won't go that far, but it was a very good win.
Someone did very, very mid pints on Saturday.
Yes, probably did say that. Probably, I will have got carried away, but it was a fantastic win and much needed as well because we have been talking recently about.
Yeah, could have got toxic this episode.
Yeah, quite bad dip in form, and if we'd have lost that game, although you say that, I said that if we lose this game, it'll get toxic, but we've played very, very well.
Yeah,
like from start to finish.
That's what you've been missing more than the results, really.
Yeah, exactly. So I actually, if we'd had a performance like that, even if we'd have lost, I don't think it would have been as bad. I didn't see that coming, that performance, to be honest. I thought it might be quite a scrappy game, and in a lot of ways it was. But we were by far the dominant side, and they were poor, Wigan, as well, I would say. We were really, really up for it. Early kickoff, so it was an early start in Wetherspoons, Moon Underwater, in Wigan Town Centre. I was there for about 10 to 9.
Yeah.
I know. Had a few in the Raven, and then walked down to the DW. Always a fun walk through that industrial estate.
What's the lay of the land for Wigan right now? Where are they league wise? They're not
1 point above the relegation zone now.
Really
Struggling. Yeah, struggling. I think there was a misconception that they're doing well because having quite a decent cup run. So they beat Preston away, and I think they've got Arsenal in the next round, haven't they?
They do actually, yeah.
Which is good doubt for them, but they're in a battle to stay up in League One now. And I'll be honest, I looked at their team, quite a lot of weaknesses for my reckoning. Quite young in some areas, and the centre back partnership of Will Aimson, former Bolton at left centre back, and James Carragher, son of Jamie. I thought it was quite a poor centre back partnership, to be completely honest.
Okay.
Very, very immobile. And the one thing you'd think that they'd be good at, which is being aerial and competing, Sam Dalby, the Bolton striker, who's not been in great form, for me, was well on top. I think I had a look at some statistics after he won 60% of aerial duels. He's one centre back playing against. He's one centre forward against 2 centre backs. That should not happen.
Yeah.
So the thing that they're good at, they were bad at. So a very surprising winner. Don't know if you've seen it.
I've seen it. I can't avoid it. Yeah, my feed's full of.
Oh, I was going to say, unsighted. He says. I thought he just practicing that fake dive that he likes to do when one's gone wide. He's. I
thought it'd have taken a deflection when I first saw it because of the way he dives.
No, straight in, because I was right behind the goal, and I, when he hit it, I didn't see it until it just smacked the back of the goal, and I was just pure relief. Obviously, ecstasy, all that kind of stuff. But good to see him be the cause. Feel sorry for Sam Tickle. Obviously, he was linked with a big move, wasn't he, in the summer?
Don't mention that. They don't like that.
No, they don't like that, Wigan fans. No one's talking about it now, though.
But that sort of helped the lay of the land in League One for you now as well, from fifth or sixth now. Fifth.
We are fifth now at the top, I believe.
Okay. And I think
because when I looked, it was before. When I looked straight after the game, and there's been games since. I think we're fifth. I think we're a few points off second. It's all to play for still, but
yeah.
I'll be honest, I was getting a bit worried about the playoff position. There's a bit of a bunching up, so we've got 5 big games in quite a short space of time now, including Leyton Orient, Stevenage, Wimbledon, and we could do, I think, from at least 10 points from these next 5 games. I think if we do that, then we're starting to get moving again, but we need to really follow it up with another win, starting at Stevenage.
Fair. Okay.
Which is on Tuesday, so the day this goes out. So tonight, if you will.
Good luck tonight.
Yeah. I know, those games come thick and fast now, because we've got a lot of rearranged games. So, yeah.
Speaking of which, tonight it'll be Arsenal. The Champions League is back this week.
Is this the last round of league phase, is it?
No, there's one more after this.
I like that last round game, where they're all at the same time.
Yeah. That's the next one. So this is match day 7.
Okay.
Arsenal are playing Inter Milan. We have currently a perfect record in the Champions League, but we're away at Inter, which was a sticky one for us last year.
They're not the same Inter, are they?
It isn't.
There has been a dip, I think, but still.
I suspect, given the fact that we are clear at the top of the Champions League, that we might play, let's say, a weakened side, but a heavily rotated side.
Okay.
I think from looking into it, there's still value at being first and second in that, because now they're doing it so the top 8 teams who qualify in them automatic positions.
Yeah, you would play the one that's.
They get favourable draws now, where last season they didn't. It didn't work out like that, so that people were mourning that, even though Real Madrid came 16th or something, and then they qualified, they still ended up with a favourable draw versus say PSG or whoever it was.
Yeah, you're seeded in the next round.
Correct, yeah. Being first and second is like very favourable rather than... There is a difference between being second and there is seventh, say, in the top 8 now. So I think there is value in that. That being said, our last game is at home to Kairat, the team who were near China somewhere.
Who beat Celtic.
Yeah, but they're coming from near China. They're already out. So that hopefully will tie up at least finishing top or second in the Champions League.
But a rotated Arsenal side is still... I mean, talking players like Mosquera coming in, aren't you? And
yeah, well, Mosquera's still injured, but that's almost guaranteed.
That calibre of players.
Madueke starting. Gabriel Jesus will probably start. Eze will probably start. Christian Noga. Lewis Skelly. Lewis Skelly's been starting a lot. Yeah, I mean, a lot of these have been started because we have still got a few injuries going on. But yeah, that sort of team. And Declan Rice plays every game anyway. So, yeah.
I mean, it's not a bad team. So
no. I think resting some keeper. I would rest Declan Rice. I wouldn't even let him go on the trip. I think the league's so important now to keep this lead. We'll talk about the league again and the title race. So this weekend saw all 3 potential title contenders fail to score, which is incredible in itself. Aston Villa, Man City and Arsenal all failing to score. Bit of a wild one. I mean, I don't know. I'll assume that you didn't see much of the Arsenal match either.
No, I did. I was wavy. So I was in the bowling green in Norwich for the first half, and then the second half that was when I knocked it on the head on my own, watched it at home.
It was hard work that. I feel like I remember saying to myself at half time when we hadn't gone 1-0 up that it was going to probably finish 0-0.
Oh, they're a good side. They're a good side for us, and they've got a proper manager now. So they look a very different team again.
What I will say is Elliot Anderson and is it Nico Dominguez? Is that who's in centre midfield with him? Absolutely rabid all day. Dominguez, when he came off about the 82nd minute, he could barely stand up. They were in everyone's face all day, and them two. I nearly said won it then, because I think if Nottingham Forest had anyone of some decent calibre up front, I thought Morgan Gibbs-White was pretty anonymous.
That's it, innit?
Hudson
They've got such a spine.
Yes.
Like, they figure the centre-backs as well, like Milenkovic.
Yeah. Think of Gyökeres any change yesterday, yeah.
Yeah. It's such a good spine at Forest. And like you say, with Morgan Gibbs-White at the head of it, they do need a strike. Igor Jesus is hit and miss, I think.
I think all the front line were really anonymous, if they had, someone
Chris
who was really on it, if they
Chris
might have
Wood,
had a flying Chris Wood, they might have come away with all 3 points easily.
But you saw how happy Pep and City were when they beat them, and that was a battle of a game as well.
Yeah. But I thought them two in midfield especially, I nearly said won it because that's what it felt like when you draw, especially 0-0. But
my biggest takeaway, because I was quite distracted, was I thought it made me realise, sitting watching, I think that Nottingham Forest have the nicest home kit this season.
Yes.
The nice big badge, and I'd say the retro 80s style, sort of thin white lines.
I'm trying to think if I can think of anyone who I could disagree with, but I can't right now. I'm just not a great big fan of Nottingham Forest. I feel like they've become the new Stoke in the Premier League.
Nice. We've covered this before, and not been a great hashtag for us on the old Twitter either.
So
not quite Wigan and Sam Tickle, but
mixed weekend all round that has turned into Arsenal going an extra point clear in the title race rather than it turning into 2 points dropped. Yeah. Realistically, we should be 12 points clear of anyone now. But
it doesn't always. I think the problem is you're I know I've seen this quite a lot from Arsenal fans, and some of them really passionately upset that you've not taken the chances. But it doesn't like your results aren't a given, and theirs aren't. Like
you don't just win every week.
Yeah, exactly. Like you had a hard away. You had probably the hardest fixture.
Yeah.
Well,
no, I don't know.
Maybe not. Yeah,
Manchester derby's.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, on paper, I'd say yours is harder, but obviously any derby's hard. I think Villa could be pretty disappointed with how their weekend turned out.
Yeah, very much so. Yeah, the chance to sort of really cement themselves at the fact that they were going to be in a title race, and Unai Emery has been pretty scathing post-match in that one.
I've not heard it yet because I switched straight to AFCON.
He's been pretty scathing. about his team, saying that they don't have the mentality to be contenders. They're not, in his words, they aren't even contenders for the top 5. And they are currently second.
Well, I must admit, when you look at the goal they conceded, there's like 3 different areas I think switching off is the word I would use. Our favourite goalkeeper, best goalkeeper in the world, Emi Martinez, another big mistake.
I worry about that one turning sour, because I think Villa fans hold Unai Emery in the highest of regards, and Villa have had some great managers and great times in their history, but he's right up there for them. And
very few managers that are as good as Unai Emery.
Absolutely, yeah. No, I totally agree, but that one could turn sour as well. Just given that where they are with PSR and where they are in the world, and him wanting support, and he's someone else who spoke about a small squad, but they're just right on the fine lines there of PSR.
Oh, they need another striker. They've managed to be second in the league with, I think, Ollie Watkins having his worst season in a Villa shirt. Yes, he's been a little better as of late, but he was pretty anonymous today, Sunday, when we were watching it. I didn't see much of Ollie Watkins in this game. Morgan Rogers struggled a little bit to get on the ball. But you can't do it. You can't expect him to be the match winner every single week. He needs some help there.
So that's Aston Villa fixed. We're on topic here, mate. Things being fixed. Liam, Chelsea have been fixed. They have the new manager taking the reign from Mikel Arteta, who's the weirdest Premier League manager at the moment. He's the new weird now.
Oh, I'm going to give him more time for that. I mean, he started well in terms of going for it.
Yeah.
I would say the mantle he's currently taking is the PE teacher one at the moment, isn't he? Like, there's always managers like a insert nationality PE teacher. Like Ten Hag is a Dutch PE teacher.
Yeah.
Mourinho does really give off that vibe. Apparently, he was really popular in France with like the media and stuff, and like that was kind of how he won them over, because at first it was very much, who's this guy? And then
I think anyone's impressed with an English person. Yeah, I think anyone is impressed with an English person who cares to learn a second language.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't have any thoughts on him as a manager. I've not seen enough yet. But the trajectory of the media has been weird. Really painting up this, excuse me, this, the weird ways, and talking about the Lego and the gloves that he's collapsed, so the players can even
manager thing as well.
Yeah, that was from a few years ago as well. I just feel like that the media have picked their target with this one, and they're not going to let him settle. Well, everything is going to be extra scrutinized.
Do you know, if we could try and get some more clicks on our clips, Mr. Rory Jennings is probably someone we could learn a thing or two off. I think he's good for an old shot face on a thumbnail.
Yeah.
And I was listening to him talk about Liam Mourinho. Basically, just said he wants him gone now. Doesn't want anything to do with him because he is a blue core company yes man, which I thought was strong. I could see where he's coming from. So maybe we could learn a thing or two about that kind of content, man. Yeah. Maybe that's what we need. We need to go down that road.
Is Liam Mourinho too weird?
Too weird for football.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I don't know. Can I see this working? It almost doesn't matter how good he is, I think.
Yeah.
I just think he's got such a bad starting point of being seen as this stooge almost of the evil blue coat.
New era, new wave.
Yeah. I just wonder that he's just got absolutely zero credit. Like, he's going to have to do very well to win your Scott Naylor types over.
Yeah, and also the fact that it's Chelsea, so he's got 18 months at a push to do something crazy before the wheels come off, if not sooner than that.
Well, think of how quickly Maresca, because let's not pretend that it was purely down to like the off-field stuff. Like I said to you when we did the Maresca, I was listening to TalkSport pretty much all that day because I was off work, and it was every single Chelsea fan wanted him gone. And that had gone from 6 weeks before that they were like, we're potentially in a title race here. And it just like, they're a club like Nova when it comes to how they almost want to be in some kind of perma-crisis or something. I think it's their way of being relevant is that they're in some kind of crisis all the time.
There must be drama.
Yeah,
I get
a little
that.
bit like Tottenham fans are a bit like that. Like that's them sort of competing for the airwaves a little bit.
Like, I get that point, but I also sometimes like, who are you going to put on the radio? The guy who's ringing in with a bit of common sense and trying to have an argument, or is he just going to?
This is what we need to think about, innit?
Sorry, yeah, you're right. That's that. I'm not. Why am I here trying to have a reasonable debate?
Yeah.
What is this?
Yeah.
God.
Liam Rosenior too weird for football?
Is he? He stinks. Liam Rosenior stinks. Let's just have that. I don't know. Yeah, feel a bit sorry for him. He might be a good manager. Whether being at Chelsea is the right place to ever become that, I guess only time will tell. What else in the world of football is going on right now? There is AFCON, but we're recording on Sunday evening, so we don't know the full-time result of that yet.
I've watched up to about the 70th minute, and I believe it got lively.
It sounds like it's got crazy. So we might address that and the sort of afterthoughts of AFCON next week.
There's quite a bit to take into that as well, because obviously they are going to every 4 years again, aren't they?
Are they?
Yeah. So I think maybe we should do that. We should talk about AFCON and how it doesn't line up with the European football calendar. I think there's probably an episode in that.
Well, I did hear that it did when it was in Egypt. I think it was in Egypt last time, but so they could do it in the summer.
Yeah.
Because it was obviously a cooler climate. Yeah. It needs to be in the summer for it to be credible. No, credible is not the wrong word.
Don't do the Jamie Carragher here.
It affects the Premier League on European football because a lot of African players play in Europe and African football, and you take them out of that calendar to go and play that, then their equivalent tournament, continental tournament. So it's seen as an inconvenience to us, the highest paying and watching market of football, and you're taken away from our thing for your thing. And I think that's where that's why the credibility thing comes up, but it's the wrong word. I'm trying to think of the right word, but that's not it.
No, I would say it's competing on the airwaves as well, because I've watched a little bit of AFCON. I'm not going to pretend I've sat and watched every game, but there were nights where, I'm one of those people that does watch a lot of football. So most evenings even if I'm sat at home with the wife and she's watching whatever, I'll have football on the laptop and I'm watching whatever game's on. The issue you've got with AFCON this time of year is that it's going to compete with like EFL, Champions League, Premier League. All these things are happening in the evenings.
Traitors,
yeah. Traitors.
So, can't compete with traitors.
No, there's a reason, they don't put traitors on when the World Cup's on there.
Smart.
So, this
Claudia
is the
knows
issue.
what she's doing.
Do you remember that? Yeah, like the Love Island summer of, was it 2018 when everyone was watching? Love Island were clever, wasn't it? It was straight away, as soon as the 8 p.m. game finished, then Love Island. But AFCON's there. It's up against like Real Madrid. I think Real Madrid and Barca was on like the same time as the quarterfinals of the AFCON.
African Love Island.
So yeah, I think that's the biggest concern, is it's never going to be.
Yeah. I totally agree. Anyway, we'll leave it there.
I just want to say though that maybe that's our European bias, because maybe in
of course it's our European bias, yeah.
Maybe in the viewing figures, so maybe we almost don't matter, but
we don't.
That's the way I see it anyway.
But all them players are leaving their jobs that they're paid to do.
Well, yeah, Brahim Diaz, for example, missed the whole Super Cup, which, as we talked about last week, was very.
But we see Mo Salah drop out of Liverpool in title races and come back not the same player.
Yeah.
It takes a lot out of him. Sadio Mane, the same one. I'm trying to think who was Riyad Mahrez has had always issues with that. I remember the Ivory Coast guys, and I remember Adebayor had a nightmare at a couple of AFCONs.
Sunderland had 5 players, aren't they?
Yeah.
But for Bolton, Jesus, I remember we used to have AFCON.
Yeah. Like emergency loans.
I know. Well, we did. We get like 2-month loans or some strikers off the continent and that, weren't we? Like Ariza Makakula coming in and stuff like that. It was mad.
So I just think they're coming away from, and it's not like it stops because it's the Euros or the World Cup again, and the Premier League stops for AFCON. So it's an inconvenience to us to see how, these players go. So
yeah, I think we should cover it in a bit more detail.
I agree. Thank you everyone for listening and joining in and being a part of us as a community. We're trying to grow. We're going to be all over your faces soon. Stay. Can't think of a better way to put that. We're going to be all over the show.
They could have done.
Yeah, that's come out rough. Do all the nice, good things on social media for us. Comment, let us know what you think or what you want to talk about. If you want to get involved, just drop us a message, drop us a DM. We'll be on that, and we will catch up with you very soon. See you soon.
Right, goodbye.